In part one of this, I opened the Meeden Advent Calendar, and this is the pile of goodies I got. And I showed you all that and said which bits I liked and which bits I didn't like. So there was lots of good stuff and a few duds. And I promised to think of a few little projects because it's such a disparate sort of mix of stuff that it will be potentially it'll be hard to think, what can I do with this? So I've got 4 little projects that I thought we could do, but probably not time to do them all. These little slices of wood, don't know if you can just see, I've drilled holes in those, and I thought we could turn them either into Christmas tree decorations or into little gift tags. There's this decoration we could just paint. Then we've got the postcards. I thought I could do a watercolor postcard. And then we've got this little easel and the tiny canvas. And I thought I'd do a quick mixed media thing, or that was a possibility. To be honest, I think I will reject that one, because if you've got that, yes, you can just paint it. So the rules of engagement is that I will only use the items that came in the advent calendar, and if I need anything extra, it's got to be things that will just be around the house, because of course I'm in my studio and I've got so many art materials, and it wouldn't be fair if I said, oh, and I just grabbed this, you know, pearlescent whatever, and you think, well, I haven't got that. So I'll use what you've got, and anything extra will be something like a bit of white glue, because I reckon just about every house has some white glue or things like that. Let's start with these slices of wood. And what I think we need to do is to seal them. And usually I would use gesso. Now I've got loads of gesso, but you might not have it. So we're going to make some. Making your own gesso is actually pretty straightforward. And what we need is some corn flour. So I reckon you will have that in your house. So that's allowable in my little rule. I've got a teaspoon and I'm putting 3 spoonsful in there. It's 3 parts by volume. I have got some baking soda, bicarbonate of soda we call it in the UK. I think Americans call it baking soda. And we put 3 spoonsful in there too. We need 1 part of white paint, and of course we got the white acrylic. So acrylic paint, obviously you can paint with, or you can use it as an ingredient in gesso. And you need some white glue, and I reckon just about every house has white glue in it, and we just need 1 spoon of white glue, or 1 part of white glue. And then we need water, and I reckon every house has got water. We'll start off with 2 spoons of water. That's a bit grubby. And we just mix those together. And why do we need to do this? Well, it seals the surface. If we try and do anything on that, it's going to feather through the wood, and it'll also give us a white background. I'm going to add just a little bit more water. This will last for a little while if we just put a lid on it. Commercial gesso lasts for ages. It's got preservatives in. We need to brush it on. They gave us this little set of brushes. They're for acrylics. They're hard at the moment. You just need to soften them off in some water, and that just gets rid of the gum arabic that will be in to preserve the shape. And then I will paint that on to my surface. I reckon it'll probably take a couple of layers. If they're a bit rough, you could always sandpaper them off. So I use the inside of the washi tape to do my twigs. We've got our twigs coming off. I haven't left this gesso long enough to dry, I don't think. It's slightly powdering off, but never mind. Now we have green and yellow and blue. Those are going to have to be the leaves. and we've got a red for the berries, and that's going to be the best we can do. Another reason, you see, I love these little brush pens is the point gives you a great shape for little leaves. So rather than trying to draw a leaf like that, use the shape of the nib to your advantage. Nothing has to be joined up. What would happen if I came in with some pencil as well? Oh, they're quite fun. Put little highlights on some of the berries. All that remains to do is to poke a bit of string, which may be tricky. Oh no, we're okay, through the hole and tie it off. And there you go, we've made a little decoration, or if you're using it as a name tag, obviously you could just write on the back who it's to. Okay, I reckon the next little thing we could do is to use these watercolour postcards. We will use this lovely little magnetic palette, and I have to say I think this was possibly my favourite thing out of there. We've got the pencils, and I've softened up those two brushes. That was the travel brush, a bigger one, and that little one. So those are the products we'll use. These, it says it's oil-based coloured pencils, and I was really impressed with the range of colours you got. Because they're oil-based, I wonder if they will resist watercolour. As always, only one way to find out. So I have found a suitable size circle to draw around. I might do slightly larger. I am going to do twigs coming off it. Right, let's look at these colours. So let's see, we need some greens mixed up. So that's just the green. Let's go for a little bit of that, a bluier version as well. See what these are like. And we've got that dark blue. Let's just loosen that up. And we're going to use our lovely #1 brush. And do some leaf shapes. Some of them can meet up and merge. And can you see, because it's got such a lovely point to it, it's just perfect for doing leaf shape. Oh, I like that colour blue in my teeny weeny palette. They can be different sizes. We could do some little ones as well. Say some can touch, some... Oh, I like that dark. Let's definitely put some dark in there. We can let that dry now. What colour berries do we fancy? I think we'll use the reds and yeah, that orangey colour. Let's see how those show up. A bit more of a sharpen. I do love the combination of red and turquoise. Let's have a look at that gold pastel, just to bring a little shimmer. Obviously with an oil pastel you can't be terribly precise. Because the only thing I didn't particularly like with these little postcards is the printed border. That actually covers up most of the printed border, apart from those bits, but hey, nothing's perfect. There you go. A little Christmas wreath. And you could, if you've got some card blanks or a bit of card, you could fold it and stick it on, or you could do it exactly the same on this tiny little watercolor paper and stick that on. That'd be quite fun. Our third project can be on this little canvas, and we are quite limited with our acrylics. We've got the white and we've got our acrylic pens. I was wondering about sort of like collaging the background and doing mixed media, and I think that's what I said right at the beginning. But let's keep it a bit more simple. And because it's Christmas and because they're white, I thought I would do a little painting of a goose, because I was thinking about the 12 days of Christmas and there are 6 geese a laying. And I'm going to use my 4B pencil to draw it vaguely like a goose. Now, what brushes are we going to use? I think we will use these little brushes, and we've got our heavy-bodied acrylic. So I'm going to paint the goose. Might do it quite thick because it is heavy-bodied acrylic. Might be quite nice to get some feathery brush marks on it. What do you reckon? With the paint pens, you always need to give them a good shake because the paint can settle out in these. They're actually rather nice on this little canvas because you've got a lot of control with a pen, maybe more than if you were painting it on. What I thought I would do is do a blue background, because blue and orange are a pretty good combination, and we've got a brush pen, so I wonder if we can get quite an even background. They do dry very fast, but if they're looking a bit stripy, if you're quick enough before it dries, you can just smooth it out with a bit of water. We can use a little bit into the feathers like that. A little highlight on its, use that yellow just on the legs. Let's just dry that off. I am going to just use the 4B pencil to put in details, simply because we haven't got any black or very limited colour wise. And if you need to, just even that background out again. So there are 3 little projects to do with the contents of your Meeden Advent Calendar. I'd love to know what you've done, and I'd also love to know, and do put it in the comments, which of these art materials were a hit for you and which you thought were a bit of a dud. And I'd be fascinated to know which other art advent calendars you've ever had and which you rate, because I've never had an art advent calendar before, and this has been definitely a learning experience for me.